This is the Vision 79 podcast, where my friend Sander and myself, Mason, discuss recent developments in our business and personal growth. The name Vision 79 comes from our respective racing numbers. Sanders is 40, mine is 39, and we have similar ambition to progress in our business and personal growth. Many successful people have started small, much like us, but very few of them have documented their early years. They often say they wish they had, and given we believe in learning lessons from others, we intend to be the first to document our journey from start to finish. This is simply a documentary of our lives, and as such, we do not monetize these videos, so enjoy the ad-free content. Each episode is broken down into 3 segments, each covering our progress over the past week. We start by discussing our life updates, then our business updates, and lastly, we share any lessons we've learned over the past week. So what happened in your life this week?
Um, Not too much life stuff. We watched Formula One qualifying
We did.
yesterday. Happy birthday, belated.
Thank you.
But we watched that yesterday. Um, Went to PAL. I assume you had a good time yesterday.
I did have a good time yesterday.
Awesome,
Thanks for coming over.
very good. Yeah, yeah. Well, I meant like generally too. I'm sure you'll tell us
that as
about
well.
the day.
Yeah. But
But
it was good. We don't get to watch racing together very often. I watch it
I never
religiously,
come
but
over.
yeah. Huh?
I never come over.
Yeah, but it was nice that you came over. I appreciate it.
So that was fun.
I've noticed there's a huge difference in watching racing with you now than when we first became friends. Because when we first became friends, the things that I would notice in watching the coverage were at a much more fundamental level than the stuff that you would catch. So I would be talking about like tire strategy, like, oh, are they going to like swap to the medium or the hard tires, right?
Yeah.
But you would be talking about like the different lines that drivers were taking, or like why they're changing brake balance into one corner or the other, or like, for example, today in the race, Max had problems with downshifting, and
Mm,
that upsets the balance of the car because you can lock the rear brakes going into the corner if your engine braking is like screwed up on the downshifts, right?
yeah.
And so these are the things that I notice now, having watched racing with you and learned those things. Now those are things that I watch on my own. And now I'm insufferable for anybody else who watches it apart from you, which is why I watch it on my own. Because it's either someone who doesn't see the things that I now see, and isn't interested in hearing about it, or someone who doesn't see the things that I see and also doesn't care about it. So it's nice to watch with someone who knows and gives a shit.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed the quality session. It was good to watch. The street circuit's always interesting from a driving perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much like a racing passing, but from a
But it wasn't
driving
much better.
perspective.
There was probably more passing and qualifying than in the race today. It
Oh
was
wow, no kidding.
processional. Yeah, it sucked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, but did that. In terms of other life stuff, I mean, it was mostly working on business related things this
Mhm.
week. One kind of like life slash business thing. Yesterday, went antique shopping and to Hobby Lobby for different trinkets
Mhm.
to put with the gramophone. So got like like little cute toy candies. Actually, um, I hated the experience overall. It was horrible.
Oh, why?
I just hate. I really don't like shopping
Mhm.
like with a passion. Like when the only times I've enjoyed shopping are like for like the Wine Country Motorsports in
Yeah.
Jupiter, Florida for the racing stuff.
That's functional shopping though, because you
It
go, "Oh,
is.
this thing I buy is gonna work well." It's like shopping for your car.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But like shopping for like stuff in the home or stuff akin to that is like I just despise all of it.
Yeah.
Because like about 3.5 minutes in, I'm like, I hate all of this. I couldn't care less about any of it. I just want something that checks the bill. Whereas like, like for example, furniture shopping, it's like, what is the wood cabinet on Facebook Marketplace that has the dimensions I need?
Right.
And it's like, that's it for me.
Well, and
Um,
also, like, okay, okay, let's take perfect example. Right in front of us, we have 2 helmets. They're the exact same brand, the exact same style.
yeah.
I went with the matte black, you went with the glossy silver, right? Same helmet, same functionality, but there's a taste preference, right? So when you look at your helmet, you go, "Oh, that's for me." And then when you look at my helmet, you know definitively I like the silver one more,
Hmm.
right? Exactly the same way I feel. You could put 10 different couches in my apartment. Half of them are gonna I like all of them the same. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
pick the
Are
one
they
that's most
comfy?
comfy. Are they
Yeah.
comfy? If they're all the same level of comfiness and I like all of them, then other factors come in with like, okay, well, this one looks good with this lamp, but that one doesn't look good with that lamp. And like the number of options is significantly outweighing the shits that I give because they all fit and they're all fine.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the issue that I share with shopping.
Yeah, it was just like I got in there and I was just like overwhelmed by the volume of stuff to look through, A.
Yeah.
And then so essentially what ended up happening is I went to like the vintage toys and dolls section and I ended up getting like toy candies
Yeah.
and like doll shoes, like really small shoes.
Mhm.
Um and like little like trinkets like that, little doll sunglasses, little purse thing and like
Yeah. The
stuff
serial
like that.
killer package, the stuff they buy.
Yeah, weird shit. I looked real weird checking out. It was like there is this 24-year-old kid who's checking out with like $70 worth of vintage doll shit. Like, it was a very strange checkout.
That is odd.
Yeah, I was definitely judged in that.
Probably rightfully so.
Yeah, for sure. Fair enough. And then I went to Hobby Lobby and spent another $70 on 6 different fabrics. Um, some of them I bought for like, just like general aesthetic play. Other of them I bought for visual effects.
Mhm.
Like the rainbow fabric and so I bought this like rainbow fabric. And I used it on a double exposure, combined with a long exposure delayed flash. It was a really weird setup, but it ended up making that, like, really weird Starry Night photo
Yeah.
that I sent you.
You can throw that in the video. You can edit that in.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, voiceover. Let me make a note of that.
Yeah, we do a
Do you care?
timestamp on it, that would be yeah, timestamp would make
Yeah.
life easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing stuff like that, just playing around with it, but, I did that with Sammy, um, you know, and we went through the stuff and I knew I was gonna pull my hair out about 2 minutes in,
Yep.
and she didn't know what to expect coming in, and she was pulling her hair out after about an hour in, and we spent 4 hours.
Jesus.
And so, it was, just like getting like the right stuff
Yep.
going back and forth, whatever, texting the branding person, seeing what their thoughts were on it.
Yeah.
Ended up getting a bunch of stuff that was cool. Got these little rocket ship salt shakers, salt and pepper shakers, but they're shaped like little they're porcelain rockets.
Mhm.
And so, would be really cool for the aesthetic we're going for. Just like Photoshop out the little holes at the top, and they'll be
Yeah.
perfect. But did that in terms of life stuff. Other than that, it was vast majority business and also just going to work. This was my second last week there. This is coming up on my last week now.
Yeah.
I have like coworker get together thing on Friday.
Mhm.
To like, going away party, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
Um, and actually my team lead made me laugh really hard. He printed out, the photo of the Wolf of Wall Street when he's in the office and he's standing there and like all of the shit's happening behind him, like stuff's just flying everywhere. It's just him
Oh,
in
sure.
the
Yeah.
office,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He photoshopped my face onto that and he put in the same font on the top, he said the Wolf of Ecom. It made me laugh so hard.
That's fun.
But yeah, so a little get together this coming week for live stuff. But
Yeah.
other than that, it was work and business related. It was odd because it was like a lot of stuff this week on business was very time consuming,
Mhm.
and so it looks incredibly slow.
Yeah.
Um,
Mine's similar.
but it
Mine's got a
was
drag.
it was like it was like I was constantly working on it, but like shopping around for these trinkets, like it just takes time.
Yeah.
And then like photographing these photos and setting stuff up takes time.
Yeah.
And getting stuff situated or getting stuff organized or working with the branding person, it just takes time. And so it was slow from a physical output perspective, but busy constantly from like a work perspective. All the prep work takes a lot. So
It's kind of like a labor of love type thing.
yeah, it's like the painting a car. It takes more to prep the surface than it does to actually paint the thing.
Do you know what I watched the other day? I watched a 4-hour video straight, no breaks. Didn't go to the bathroom. I just sat there. And this is as I was falling asleep, and I was like, "Oh, I can fall asleep to this." And I was up till 3 a.m. I watched a guy on YouTube, PPF coat panel by panel on LC500. I watched him prep and put paint protection film on every panel of the LC500. I now know more about I haven't seen one of these cars in person for more than a full second at a time. I've seen 3 of them. Never once for more than a full second at a time as they're driving by, and I know more about that car than the Lexus I own right now.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's fucking unhinged.
Uh, it was a but yeah, it was a, life in terms of it was a swell on life and, a lot of processing stuff on business, but overall, decent week, so,
Sweet.
nothing really bad in that respect. I was supposed to change the oil on the Miata this weekend. I'm now looking at that and looking at the weather outside. I think that is unlikely, but I would try to do
It
it
looks
before
great.
work tomorrow if it's sunnier.
Yeah.
So
If you wanna wait a few weeks, I'm almost at the oil change on the Lexus.
I cannot wait a few weeks. It's
It
already got it should have been done last weekend.
I'm only halfway there. I'm only at 2,500 miles.
Yeah.
We are stacking miles on that thing, though. That is gonna be like a million-mile car. I'm
Yeah.
gonna fucking kill that thing. I'm so excited. I love it so much. I love it so much. Every time I think about driving it, I get excited. It's just so comfortable.
Yeah. I guess another life update is now
We're gonna take it racing because Sander got me a gift card to go racing. So
Oh,
we're
yeah.
actually gonna go racing. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna put GoPro footage in the next podcast. It's gonna be great. And we're gonna drive the Lexus to Orlando when we do it.
Yeah,
So you can experience a road trip in it.
that would be nice. Yeah, I mean, I've been in the car for a short bit and I've enjoyed it. In the approximately 10 minutes I've driven it, I've almost gotten pulled over once.
Oh, did I tell you I got
Which was
pulled over?
hilarious.
I got pulled over in Melbourne Village for rolling the stop sign. Oh, fear, did I tell you that? I can't. You know how there's that long bit down as you're turning onto the target?
Yeah.
There's a cop sitting at the very end right next to the stop sign. Usually I rip it through there. His radar wasn't on.
Yep.
So I was like, maybe I'll do it anyways. And then I was like, no, because he's right there. And so I did not accelerate at all. Kept at the speed limit. I got to the stop sign and then I slowed down for a stop. And I did fully stop, but I kept it in gear. So I was only fully stopped for like just long enough to not bog the engine. And then I kept going. Right.
Mhm.
So it was like very, very barely stopped. Right. Um, and he pulled me over immediately through his lights on, pulled me over. And so I do my thing. I pull over, signals on, both windows down, keys on the dashboard, and hands on the steering wheel, right? That's how you should get pulled over. If you're ever pulled over, do all of those things, right?
Yeah.
So he walks up and he was like, "How are you?" And I was like, "I'm good." And he was like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I was like, "No, I didn't speed at all." And he was like, "I pulled you over because you were in the stop sign." I was like, "Sure didn't." And he was like, "Yeah, you did." And I was like, "Nope, I fully stopped." And he was like, "I he, like, kinda stopped for a second. He was like, "I don't know what to tell you. Like, you did not stop. I have it on video." And I was like, "Pull up the video." And he was like, "Let me just see your license." And I was like, "It's in the bag behind me. I gotta get out of the car. Are you cool with that?" And he was like, "Yeah, always ask before you go reaching for anything." So I got out of the car, pulled the bag out on the ground, and then I told him what I was gonna be reaching for before I reached for it, etcetera. He was like, "Okay." And so he took my license and he was like, "I'm gonna go run this. If it comes back clean, it's just gonna be a warning." I'm like, "Okay." So he goes and he runs and he comes back and he's like, "You're clean. You're good to go. Just a warning." But just a tip for next time, try not to argue anything, especially if we have it on video. Like, you could just end up escalating things. And I was like, "Oh, sure. Yeah. If I actually did something wrong, then, I'm gonna argue it, or then I'm not gonna argue it. But if I didn't do anything wrong, then I'm gonna argue it and challenge you to pull up the videotape." And he was like, he just gave up on me and he left. But I think that because I stopped for just a fraction of a second, right? Enough to see that no one else is coming, but also enough to like be within the law. But I think that he was convinced that I had not stopped
Mm.
until I was so resolute in telling him that I had that he started second guessing it, and he was like, "I don't want to pull up the video and be wrong." So he was just like, "Okay, go away." Just trying to direct me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Shoot, I had a thing to say after that. Oh, I got in response to that, and then
Mhm.
I forgot.
Car related. You were almost pulled over in the Lexus. That's what we were talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean oh yeah, yeah. No, it's a good car. We'll do that road trip and do the racing event, and that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But speaking of car related updates, second and third gear in the Miata, like will grind. Like
Still.
yeah, like
All
you
the
got
time now.
yeah, like pretty much. So it's got to be you got to be like you'll just hit a wall. Like you'll hit a wall going a second, and until like the revs are perfectly matched, it'll like clunk in. And third gear does the same thing. So I've been trying to be a little bit more gentle with that car on second and third gear. Um, I mean 5 speeds are cheap. You can
I'll
get
bet
one cheap,
you.
but
I'll bet you anything that we can remove tear down and rebuild that
You're not doing
transmission
fucking
in a
shit.
single weekend. In one weekend. If we can do it in the car, I want to do it with us.
Test it. I don't want to. If I pull that transmission out, I'm just putting another transmission in it. But yeah, that was about it. From very, very short life update on my end.
Do you have stuff planned for your last week at work? Are you gonna still give it any effort at all, or like what are they gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, if they want me to work something, I'll work it. Last week was incredibly slow, and it wasn't really my fault. I went to like we have like a flow management side department that essentially like coordinates all the jobs together. And I was going to them and I was like, "Do you want me to work this?" They're like, "No," and I was like, "Why?" And they're like, "Because we have to do X, Y, and Z first." And I was like, "Okay." And so I did that every day. I think I worked 2 jobs in the 5 days.
Do you
The
have to
other
train a replacement?
no, but I ended up hanging out with another engineering group and going on their jobs. So I actually saw some cool shit this week. I went up to the ring where the capsule gets connected,
Yeah.
which was fun. And then I also saw the inner tank of the core stage from like the
Oh,
top, like through the hatch opening for
Mhm.
like access and maintenance.
Mhm.
So I got to do that, which was pretty neat. Never done that. And then this week, I want to go up to the 41st floor, which is the highest floor before the roof.
You?
Yeah,
Okay.
I wanna try I wanna see it. But there's 2 elevators you have to take. You take 1 to 34, and then you
Uh-huh.
cross over, and then there's 1 elevator that goes to 41.
You're gonna freak out.
Yeah, it's gonna be terrifying, but I wanna see it
Okay.
just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
I'll probably get up there, open the elevator door, and be like, "Alright, going back down." So,
That's funny.
yeah, but, that was cool. But yeah, what about you? What are your life updates for this week?
It was my birthday yesterday, so you
Mhm.
came over and watched Quali. And I got to go work at the bar with you for a little bit. And then Grace and I drove to Orlando for lunch. We went to the Lego store. She had campaigned my family members to donate money as a birthday gift to me, and
Oh, nice.
just like presented me the pool of money to go buy Lego with, which was cool. Um, she did that for my birthday last year, and I was like, I mean this when I tell you this. This is the best birthday gift I've ever gotten, and I want you to do this until I die, forever. And so this year, I think she was like trying to think about doing something a little different. And I know because she had planned on our morning starting with going through.
Replicate, then iterate.
Yeah, basically, right? It's replicate, except then you nailed it. So dad do the
Yeah,
same thing
just
every day.
replicate, yeah.
Yeah, just replicate. I'm a simple creature. When she asked me what I wanted for lunch this week, she doesn't have to ask. I want the same thing for lunch every week, no matter what. So I'm easy to please
Yeah.
once you get it down. But she was like, our morning yesterday was supposed to start by going to the Lexus in Melbourne dealership because she'd been calling all of the dealerships in Florida to try to find one with an LC500 that I could go see
Mhm.
in person and like sit in and ask questions and get technical and like maybe get it on a lift and like maybe test drive it. You never know. Stuff like
Yeah.
that, right? Hear it. And no Lexus dealerships in Florida have one in right now. Melbourne's getting two in the next month or so, and they're gonna call her as soon as they get them in so that I can go look.
Cool.
But I think at first she was thinking about doing something different for my birthday, and then she was like, "I know what he wants. I'm just gonna like do this Lego thing." So that's what we did.
Mhm.
Then we got dinner and ice cream out in Orlando. That was nice. Came
Nice.
home. Yeah, it was a chill day. Oh, and then we went to a bar in Orlando, and I got to work for like 2 hours, which was cool. So it was like in the middle of my I'm supposed to relax and do shit day, I got to work for a total of like 3 hours, which was
Mm.
sweet. Um, so that was cool. I'm trying to post more on social media. Um, because I had been really good about it for like 3 months, and then the last month in building my listing launch system, I kinda dropped off because I don't fucking care about posting on social media, but,
Yeah.
everybody who I talk to about real estate has pushed me to do it more. And then I was reminded again yesterday, and I was like, "Okay, fine." And so I asked Grace to take a photo of me working for me to post, and then as I was making the post, I was like, "Working on my birthday. I love this." And then I was like, "That sounds so cringy and fucking
Mm.
fake, and I hate the way that that sounds." And so then I took it down and I scrapped it, and then I put a disclaimer up, and I was like, "Disclaimer: the following post is not meant to be like a pick me type of thing, like a pick me girl who's just trying to get attention. It's not attention grab. I've been told I need to post more, and this is genuine. I just like to work. I'm happy to be working on my birthday. It's not like a fucking
Yeah.
thing." And then I made the post, and then Grace was like, "Your disclaimer made it even more cringy." And I was like, "I don't care. It's done. It's done at this point. Like, if you know me, then you know that I like to work, and you know that I'm happy, and I'm
Yeah.
supposed to post something, even though I don't care. It's just tough. It's tough posting when I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
So
I hear you. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't like posting on social media either.
yeah, I made it work. So anyways, that was good.
Very nice.
Yeah, that was my day yesterday, and so today it's back to the norm. There was a race this morning and then some meal prep stuff. So
Mhm.
I'll get to build my Legos like tonight or tomorrow.
Who won the race?
George led from start to finish.
Oh, got it. Did
Yeah.
Max end up second?
Yeah, he had like no pace at the beginning. He started on the softs, George was on the mediums,
Hmm.
but Max didn't have any pace. George fucked off like 10 seconds up the road. Red Bull nailed the pit strategy, and they got Max out on hard tires, and Max was lapping like a full second, second and a half a lap quicker than everybody else on the hards. Um,
Wow.
Everyone else was on the used mediums at that point. Um, but then he started to run into car troubles with the balance was thrown off. They had the shifting issues and stuff. And so for the rest of the race, Lando Norris was like right on his ass like the whole time. But it's a street circuit, so it's tough to get past at this one in particular,
Yeah.
Singapore. And so he was able to keep Lando behind. So like phenomenal drive given like everything that was going on. They actually talked about how they were like, Max has one of the biggest, like, bandwidths of drivers. Like, the ability to manage, like, 150 different things at once and, like, manage, like, problems in the car and everything at the same time is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and it is. And so he finished ahead of Lando and ahead of Oscar.
Nice.
So he built 6 points on Oscar. He needs more than 6 points per race to win, but the fact that he was able to beat both McLarens and Lando got ahead of Oscar is even better. Um, so the gap is closing. McLaren won the constructors championship. So like now, even if they DNF every race from here to the end, they win. So there's 6 more races left
Okay.
and 3 sprint races. So
Hmm.
Max has to win everything. He didn't win today, but he got second. That's close.
Yeah, that is close. Yeah, we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah.
Hmm. Very cool.
And then my last life update here is that at work, I got a letter this week. I told you about this the other day, but when a contractor and their customer decide that they need to change something in an existing contract that people have already agreed to, both sides have to agree in explicit terms and then issue a memo explaining that before changing the contract or
Mhm.
changing the thing that is subsequent to the contract, right?
Right.
And so I this letter hit my desk this week, which is Northrop Grumman and our customer agreeing to change something in a contract, which is a big deal because it's a big contract and you're not supposed to change these things. Um, and it was like a 4-page letter, but, in the last page, they were explaining why they have confidence that this change can be made properly, and it's not like it's gonna be okay,
Mhm.
and one of the things that they had listed in there for why they think that they can manage this properly is the system that I put in place, the program directive that I helped write, um, and that's the system that I manage today, so that's, like, a whole, like, fucking thing that I did that is now impacting like, I work with the chief engineers on our side and the customer side routinely, but now it's also impacting everybody else on this contract, which is super cool. And, I got officially on Friday, I got my top secret clearance. So now I have been
Congratulations.
confirmed, it's active, I just have to get my badge redone,
Nice.
and I'm good to go. Yeah, so I'm probably the most accredited level 1 engineer in all of Northrop Grumman history.
Yeah, you should not be level 1. Right, that does not make sense.
Well, I was talking to my assignment manager, the guy my boss who I work with every day, and he was like, "Hey, have you heard anything about your promotion?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, the promotion cycle happened." And my functional manager was like, "Yeah, like, they were only giving out 1 and, like, someone else got it, I don't know." And I was like, "Sounds good, same old." And he was like, "Yeah, let me talk to your assignment manager, and we'll see if we can do something. I don't wanna make any promises, but we're gonna look into it and see." And I was like, "Okay." And so then I'm talking to my assignment manager today, and he was like, "Oh, I never heard from him." And I was like, "Yeah, so I'm not shocked. I have the worst lawyers. Like, what the I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, I've got the worst manager." And he was like, "Yeah." He was bummed, and he was like, "I'm concerned, um, because you should have gotten a promotion by now." So I think it's getting to the point that I'm outperforming my position in a good way.
Yeah.
So that's good. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyways, that's my life update.
Nice. Very nice.
What's your business update?
My business update this week. So I had some meetings for the branding stuff in regards to targeted style and approach. Part of that effort was in the trinket shopping and the little gift shopping, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So just kind of coordinating through the aesthetic that we're going for, meeting about it, decided on a website design, and that's being built out now. Um, and then, looking forward to kind of working through that. Hopefully, it'll be done by the 17th of October. That's the current goal right now.
Your website design?
Yeah, the website design and revamp. It'll be paired with some social media stuff, on that end in terms of like logo and just a few posts that'll be there to kind of give the aesthetic vibe.
Right.
Um, and then additionally, I had a meeting in regards to the meta framework from the media buyer I mentioned last week, the different person who was going to get back to me on the framework. Largely, the framework they gave me, A, didn't make sense, and B, was incorrect,
Mm.
which was very
What
interesting.
was their position?
Their position was you need to take your winning post and replicate the post ID and then launch your new creatives through that. And their point is that there needs to be engagement retained on the new posts. That's a nice theory. You cannot replicate a post and then change the creative and maintain the engagement. So to make that claim is just like factually false.
Right.
Like I can't take a post, duplicate it, and then change the video in it and retain all the likes and shares.
Right.
So
Because you're changing the post.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. Fundamentally, you're changing the post.
Right. And the likes
Uh,
and engagement is tied to the post.
yeah, and
Not the
so
feed.
that was like useless in a really weird way.
Got it.
And so I was like in that conversation, I like immediately identified that, and I was like, okay, cool. Thanks for the feedback. Appreciate it.
Do you know
Because
why?
it was like, eh,
Do you think they're wrong and don't know that they're wrong? Like, why would they be giving this to you?
I I'm not sure, but I thought about it and I was like, regardless of the reason why, I wouldn't want to work with this person in the future.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
either A, they don't know what they're talking about,
Right.
or B, they're trying to sell me on something that doesn't work or can't work
Mhm.
in hopes that I work with them when it doesn't work or can't work. And in either case, I don't feel comfortable working with them.
So,
And I don't trust them for their feedback or input.
do they sell stuff, or is that what you're?
Yeah, they would be like a media agency, essentially.
Got it. Okay.
Uh,
So they didn't charge you anything for the consultation. They
mhm.
put together this consultation to try to sell you stuff in the future, and then
In
they
projected hopes of selling stuff in the future,
right.
yeah.
Well, if you weren't good at marketing, then you would have bought it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I'm, like, really good at marketing, I just understand that, like, the very basic frameworks of, like, what you can and cannot do, and what they were outlining for me, like,
Right.
just cannot be done.
Right.
Like, you just literally can't launch a new creative with previous engagement from a completely different post and creative.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, like, onboard that engagement.
Right.
Like, unless there's some, like,
They're
hack.
they're giving you that Lucas fuel cleaner and promising you extra horsepower.
Right, yeah, exactly, and it's, like, that whole experience was, like, a little bit weird. I was like, "Okay," like and I tried to dig into it a little bit more, but they also from what I gathered, like, they kinda said the same thing multiple times.
Hmm.
And so I don't know if they're I think what was happening was they were relaying information through someone else to me, and so they only had, like, a
Was a sales
framework
guy.
of information,
Right.
right? And then it's also like a game of telephone because it's like, what out of what I told them did they tell them?
Yeah.
And then what did they tell her that then she told me?
There's a great parallel there between that and real estate, where agents will often deliver messages without understanding the why. And then when clients have a question, they say that's just the way it is. So for example, real estate agents standard commission is 6%. When you're
Mhm.
selling your house, you pay your real estate agent 6%. Why is that? It's because it's the industry norm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, why are we going with the industry norm? Like, can you do 5%? Oh, well, it's just policy, right? And like that's just the shit that they give you, right? It's the
Yeah.
same thing in like car dealerships when then they're like, oh well, we'll give you the best numbers if you come in person. And you're like, why? And they're like, well, because you have more leverage. And it's like, why would you want me to have more leverage? You're trying to get money out of me. What are you talking about? Like
Yeah.
you have more leverage because then I'm there in person, stuck there, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's like if you don't understand the why, then you can't effectively selling it, which is why I'm taking so much time with this real estate stuff.
Yeah.
But it's perfectly reflected in the ad marketing things where it's like if you don't understand how it works, then you can't effectively sell it. Like these guys failed to sell you on it because they don't understand it to the same degree that you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and so that was like you said, it was a interesting conversation, and
Yeah.
it was just interesting, and I'm kind of just continuing my framework. That was just like a piece of information I got, and I was like, I'll just continue doing the way that I've planned this out.
Right.
But the AI advertising. So I've been working with a little bit of AI to create some advertisements as well. Um, and I showed the like cartoon idea I have to a few different people, and everyone really liked it. And so that is still in formation. I haven't put that out there because this week I was really focused on trying to get the branding stuff in order for the branding person and to get that set up as best I can. A
Right.
lot of that had to do with also like once we got the template, she wanted a specific font. And so then I had to learn how to code in that font and actually make it selectable in Shopify.
Mhm.
Additionally, it becomes exponentially more complicated because we're going to run two different themes at the same time.
Mm.
And to edit things like an About Us page or Contact Us page, the way that Shopify works is that your live pages, like your About Us page, will have a certain domain. And that domain is triggered off of the name of the page file.
Okay.
And when you generate a draft template, that page file name is the same. And so it will feed off of the same original page for both the live and the draft. The
Got it.
problem is that if you want to change something for a draft and you don't want it to reflect in the live, you have to create a separate page, right?
So it's not
Because they
connected
need
to the same domain.
so it's not connected to the same like domain
Right.
structure that they have.
Right.
And so going through that process, creating the separate pages, linking it up properly, getting the menu header to work correctly, and all this stuff, like that was a process as well. So and then duplicating products as well, so that you can edit one version of the product for the draft and one version of the product for the live,
Right.
getting the taxes and shipping and duties sorted on that end, right? So that was a bit of a process to get that all like set up and sorted out because essentially my goal was to like just make it as easy as I can,
Right.
so she can just focus on like the creative side of the work rather than the technical side. And so that was a lot of what my week was. Um, and in all of this, trying to kind of break into the more mom market and playing around on that end of things. But overall, it was slower in that respect. I'm really shooting for this week to be a little bit more like deliverable oriented.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm really trying to shoot for more this week because this past week wasn't much deliverable. It was a lot of prep work and
Right.
stuff like that. They did message me and say they want photos of my car, and I'm like, because
Wait,
I don't.
what? Who?
They want we're kind of going for that retro futurism aesthetic,
Uh-huh.
and so I sent them a bunch of photos around my house of different stuff that I have,
Got it.
to kind of like get an idea of like some of the stuff we could use that I already had, as well as the stuff that I got when I was thrifting.
Right.
And they mentioned that they really like the look of the car,
The Porsche?
the Porsche,
Got it.
and they're like, "Can you roll it out into the sunlight?" And I was like, "This car don't roll." And they're like, "Oh, like why not?" And I was like, It's a long story."
Yeah.
But I was like, "I do have a similar car that does roll, but it's white." And so I sent them a photo, and they're like, "Can you do photos in the sunlight?" And I was like, in my head, I'm like, "Yes, I can do photos in the sunlight." I'm also hoping that like this isn't the game of I do photos in the sunlight and then my photos suck and then it's a waste of my time.
Can you ship the car to me?
Yeah, I cannot ship the car. No, I
Got it.
cannot.
I see what you're saying.
So I'll do the photos. I'll do the photos in the sunlight. I hate taking pictures of my car because I have to clean it. Um, and it's just time consuming. Like all of this shit was this week.
I
It's
get
like
that.
prep and time consuming. And then it just is like shitty when like the end result after like quite literally 8 or 10 hours of prep is just like not good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
So like I'll 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 play with it for now. Like worst case scenario, if everything I do is just shit for the next 2 weeks, it's 2 weeks of my life that I wasted in learning that lesson. So
Right.
it is what it is. I'll take photos of the car, and see if they can work into the advertising. If they can work really well into the advertising, that'd be cool. But I'll kind of play it in that sense. I'll pull up the cars and bids photo framework and see if I can replicate all of their angles.
That's
But
pull a car off Cars and Bids and send them those photos and say, make one of these work.
honestly, not a bad idea.
You could also ask to go to the Muscle Car Museum, and then you could send it.
Yeah.
You could send them the Muscle Car Museum website page and say, "Hey, pick one, and I'll go take pictures with it."
Yeah,
That's an option.
very true. Very
Yeah.
true.
I mean, fuck the Andrew's got a bunch of good photos on that page anyways.
Yeah,
Ask
yeah.
ask for their
I don't know what the licensing would be. I could ask.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, go that route. That's a good thought as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. I mean, it's just a short business update for me this week. It was just
Yeah.
like a lot of running around and prep work and playing with photo work and trying to get stuff right. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was a mess this week. I'm looking forward to next week, hopefully being less of that.
What are you hoping to do next week?
I really want to finish the AI advertisers that I had going.
Mhm.
Um, everyone liked them. The branding person I was working with thought that it was way too complicated.
Hmm.
Um, with all due respect, I see that as a personal decision.
Yeah.
And so I want to make it, and therefore I will spend my time to make it.
Yeah.
But
How complicated can graphic video be?
it honestly wasn't that complicated for me.
Yeah.
But I guess from an outside perspective, looking
Did
at it,
did
it's
they
like,
think it was too complicated to generate or too complicated visually, like watching the product?
no, they thought visually it was excellent.
Oh,
It was just complicated to generate.
complicated to make shouldn't really be something that holds you back if you're not the one making it, you know? Like, if I'm the marketing advisor, it's equally complicated to make the 2 different themes for your page that you wanna make, if not more complicated, right?
Yeah. Well, also like my thinking on it was like this actually gets into my business lesson learned, but one thing that I was thinking about in that situation too is like I'm about to have triple the time.
Mhm.
Like if something I produce by any means, by any metric is somewhat decent,
Right,
time I will shortly be my friend
right.
in that respect. It is not like this isn't I am not like Elon Musk has a great frame about this. I've mentioned this before, or you've mentioned this. One of us has, but it's an excellent frame in that.
Fuck bitches
Before
to get
you,
money.
so no, that's not the Elon Musk frame. Although he probably does do a lot of that,
I'm
given that he has like 14 dozen kids.
How many kids does he have?
He's got 14 at least.
14 kids?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
wild.
think he's
Is
got
that
more than
true?
that now. Oh yeah, for
How
sure.
many kids
He might be up
does
closer to
he
20.
have?
Let's see.
I wonder if he knows.
I wonder if my Google answered this good question. I'm sure he does. But
See,
what's he got? What's he got?
float over. We are 14. You were right.
Yeah,
That's
14.
crazy. Oh, his firstborn son just tragically passed away at 10
Oh.
weeks old in 2002.
Oh no. Well, that was I guess, yeah.
Yeah, why does it say just?
Yeah.
Google, fix your AI.
Just in 2002,
Okay, so yeah,
23 years ago.
whatever. Okay, where were you?
No, but I like the Elon Musk framework of when you look at a system, figure out don't try to optimize or create efficiency first. Figure out like what you need and what you don't need. Like just cut.
Oh, that's
Right.
the Hormozy create flow,
And it's
monetize
also
flow, reduce
Hormozy's.
friction. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all and like Hormozy. I was listening to a Hormozy podcast yesterday, and he was like, "People who get big don't worry about the efficiency in the beginning.
Right.
They just do a volume of stuff,
Yeah.
and even if the ROI on something is lower than another thing, like they just do more of all of it, and therefore the business gets bigger." And that's the exact same frame of mind that I'm coming into like the next 2 months in. Is like I'm not going to be at home and be like, I think that email marketing is not worth my time because the ROI could be lower. It's like, no, if I have the time to do email marketing and I've already run as many ads as I can push into this account for the week and I have a spare day, guess what? I'm going to work on email marketing, or I'm going to try to really hone in on improving the ads from this little aspect, and like doing this little thing here and this little thing here. Like the time aspect and the efficiency aspect, like it does not matter to me at this stage. Like I just need to do more volume, test more, and figure out what works and what doesn't work. And like the time aspect of it is like I will just invest the time to do it. Like it doesn't have to be nothing about this process has to be picture perfect or efficient.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos wasn't hung up on starting Amazon because he couldn't crack Amazon next day delivery on his first day.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the I can't scale factor for most.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like that's just kinda like the mindset I have. Everyone's got a different mindset for it and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but, you know.
But also, even with the scaling, right? Because like scaling is different for every business, and so scaling has its different challenges for every business, right? If you have a social media business, it's difficult to scale if you are the product, right?
Yeah,
Like if you're a celebrity, it's difficult to scale because you can only shoot one movie at a time. I get that, so it's different for every business. But for advertisement creation, right? You only need one winning ad. By everyone else's philosophy, you only need one winning ad to go gangbusters and make you all your money, right?
yeah,
So if it takes a long time to generate the ad, so what? You can use it for a year and make a smack load of money, right?
yeah, and, like, that's the framework. It's like, you know, the restriction of, like, it's gonna take effort is, like,
Not
all of
your
it
effort
takes effort.
though. So like, who cares? Yeah,
Everything is painful. Like,
yeah.
it all just and, like, that gets a little bit, into my life lesson this week, but that is the as much as I can extend the business update, honestly, like, that's
Sweet.
about everything that I got. So
While we're on the topic of Elon, though,
yeah,
I listened to this thing the other day that was really cool. I heard someone that was like, "Do you know about the Boring Company that Elon has that like drills tunnels
yeah,
under like Texas and shit? Why the fuck does he have that company, right? What the fuck does that? What is the function of that company, right?
yeah,
But also, none of his businesses are really related. Like electric cars and then SpaceX. He's not building electric rockets, right?
mm,
And then robots and shit. Like none of the things are really interrelated until you think about his main mission, right?
mm.
What's Elon Musk's core mission as a living, breathing person?
I mean, just change society for the better of the future,
It's
I would
to
say.
it's to make humans an interplanetary
Oh,
race,
sure,
right?
yeah.
So if you can make it to Mars, what's the first step in making it to Mars? You need rockets, right?
Mhm.
So he's got SpaceX, right? Once you get there, right, the conditions are horrific. So you're not going to live above
For
ground.
real.
You're going to live underground. So you need the Boring Company, right? And
Nice.
when you're up there, there's no atmosphere, or not the same kind of atmosphere as Earth. So you're going to need electric things to get around, like electric vehicles, right? Who's going to build all this shit? Not people, robots, which is
Right.
why AI is so important. And the robots that he's building are so important,
Oh,
right?
interesting.
And so then it all kind of twists together. And with the solar panel things that he's doing too, he's got like some solar company or something
Yeah,
like that. That's how you generate electricity on Mars. Isn't that so crazy?
yeah.
Like all of those like different
It
puzzle
kinda
pieces
does
fit
work.
together.
Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
that is really interesting.
I heard that and I had my mind blown when I heard that. I
Yeah.
was like, how have I never put this together? Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that is very cool. I never thought of that either.
Yeah.
Um, but what is your business update for this week?
My business update is also shorter this week. I have no client update to start with. It's a strong start. Although I will say my the client that's thinking about selling their current place and then moving in Satellite Beach, um, we agreed a few weeks ago uh, that I can start sending them listings for a place that they would be interested in buying. Um, and I did send them one, and they gave me great feedback. And I can't
Right.
remember if I included that in the last podcast or not. But
Um, yes.
yeah,
Briefly, I think.
in any case,
Yeah.
that is a positive feedback, and I think that we're going to be able to work really well together.
Yeah.
That house in particular, they have more equity in it than I think they do.
Mm,
By the same token, that house is going to sell for less than they want it to, and it's because that house, it's in great physical shape. The floors are terrazzo, which are interestingly making a comeback. That's the white floor with the kind of like Fruit Loop pattern of stuff in it,
mm,
right? It looks very 60s, right?
yeah.
Some people, most people historically over the past 20 years have not liked it. It looks very aged, right? But it's starting to come back into theme again, and people are starting to like them again. Maybe because not many places have it, so it's kind of rare.
Yep.
But the house has cast iron pipes, and cast iron pipes are a big problem because it's kind of a matter of when, not if, they break. And when they break, then you can cause like foundation damage and stuff like that. So, generally speaking, anybody who buys a house today that has cast iron pipes just gets them redone before they even move in because it's not worth investing in a home if you're going to have like a
Yeah.
giant lake under your house and who knows how long, right? Um, so on the one hand, it's got terrazzo floors, which some people like and some people don't. On the other hand, you're gonna have to rip up those terrazzo floors to redo the plumbing. Do
Mm,
you want to do that before or after you sell the home? Do you want it to be a new owner problem? I don't really know.
Yeah.
Depends on where they want to go, but I can use the stuff that I'm learning about marketing to kind of leverage that, right? So like we could say, hey, the home's in great shape. It's got cast iron pipes. We're willing to give you a credit at closing worth X amount for that. Or if the rate buy down is more important to you, then we can decrease your monthly payment for a year or two to help offset the cost of whatever, right? So
Yeah.
we can play with that. But that's my only client update this week. Most of the work that I have done has been on my listing launch system. Um, I've shown it to a couple people so far because a lot of people come up to me and they're like, "What do you work on?" And then I show them, and then they're like, "Holy shit, this is really cool." And in doing that, it's kind of opened my eyes. I have been like laser focused on how do I provide as much value to customers as I can through this discount sheet, right? And so I have my list of contractors here. I actually forgot to write down how many I have. Um, but I had a great week this week. I'm now at 12 secured partners. So I have affiliate codes with 12 different companies for varying discounts, 5 to 20%. Some have free consultation. And then I'm in negotiations with 4 right now that are ongoing.
Nice.
They basically agreed. We just have to figure out what kind of discount they want to do. One of them is a home inspector, which is a huge deal because I have talked to 3 home inspectors already, 2 of which I've already worked with. And all of them have been like, hey, we price competitively, we don't do discounts, whatever. And I'm like, hey, dude, as a business owner, I completely respect that. I don't believe in discounts either, but I'm looking to get some value for my customers. So thought I would ask, right? But I found one company. They're not a local company, they're a nationwide company. But I got on the phone with their marketing rep who lives in like New Mexico.
Mm.
And I was like, hey, I'd really like to work something out. And they were like, "Oh yeah, well, like why don't you give us the rates that your inspectors currently have, and like we'll see what we can do." And I was like, respectfully, I don't want you to try to compete with the people that I already have. I just want you to give me a discount that you guys are comfortable doing. And they were like, "Okay." And so like they had this like pitch ready to go. And we wound up doing 10% off all inspections, everything. So like
Nice.
full home inspection, pool inspection, roof inspection, 4 point, whatever you want to do, my clients get 10% off. Um, and that's not just so another a plumbing inspector that I have, double scope inspections, shout out. They're giving me 10% off the first client that I send to them. And then every client gets burgers and hot dogs for a housewarming cookout and 3 months of pest termite treatment and ADT home security perks. So like
Nice.
they get
Wow.
10% off the first client and then like a couple other bonus things, but that's kind of it. But this my safe home inspection is giving me 10% off all clients, all inspections, which is awesome. And then right after that, I hopped on the phone with a security company that is local. It's East Coast Alarms Incorporated. So they're a company based out of the Space Coast. And I got on the phone with their owner, and he offered a free consultation to my customers and a free security device when they go with a package using my discount code. So that's like a free camera or a free like door alarm or something
Yeah.
like that. And then there's a whole host of other ones, right? So like this has been the direction that I'm taking to get value to my customers, right?
Yeah. I like it.
Thank you. But I had an interesting epiphany this week, which is in showing people the listing pack I showed you yesterday. It's kind of getting out of hand with how huge it is, right? Um, they look at that and they go, "That's so valuable and that's so important to me." And I'm like, "Oh, but I can also get you 10% off on whatever new roof you want." And they're like, "Yeah, that's cool, but this helps me understand what the home buying process looks like." And I started to realize that most of the value that my customers are looking for is in their highest pain point, which is uncertainty about actual home transactions, right? And so, in looking at my timeline I have laid out, I started building the timeline for myself to build my own confidence in how to list and market a home. And then I updated it to be um um not efficient, impactful, I guess, right? Actually work to sell a home because
Yeah.
most real estate agents give you the same package. So I'm trying to build something different. That's where the listing launch comes in, right? Um, and then I started to update it with, oh, Grace had this awesome idea during our open house on Friday. She was like, hey, the last buyer that we worked with was an engineer. They wanted to know everything that was going on. They wanted to know all of the steps laid out ahead of time, right? They basically wanted this timeline that I'm making, but from a buyer's perspective, not a seller's perspective. And so then I thought, oh, cool. Well, I already have this timeline laid out. When a home sells, everybody follows the same timeline. It just looks different for the buyer or the seller, right? So, like, once they go under contract, the seller just waits for the check to roll in.
Yeah.
Once the house goes under contract, the buyer has to schedule the inspections and the appraisal and deal with their lender and stuff like that, right? But most buyers, or first-time buyers at least, don't really know what all of that process looks like. And even if you bought a house 20 years ago, the whole process is different now.
Yeah.
And if you've never sold a house before and you bought 20 years ago, you've never been through this, right?
Right.
Um, so having actions, not just for the real estate agent, but actions for the client are equally valuable. So I took my whole timeline that I have laid out. I'm maybe like 70% done with it from my angle, right? But now I'm going back through and I'm adding in buyer and seller actions too. So I'm going to have this full timeline of every event, of every action needed to be taken by buyer and seller, by listing agent and buying agent, right?
Mhm.
So, and then I'll be able to tailor it out into 4 different timelines or 2 different timelines, depending on if you want to do seller side, agent and client,
Yeah.
buyer side, agent and client, or break all 4 out, right? And then I'll be able to deliver that to whoever wants it that way, right? And it gives me a roadmap to follow.
Yeah.
And critically, and this is what I brought up with Grace because I was like, this is such a great idea, not only from providing value to our clients, but also to make a replicable system. Because I, as much as it's important to have a good reputation as a real estate agent because you're selling yourself, it would be really valuable to me if I could build a system that is, I can either sell to other agents or I can hire agents under me to follow that same system. Because then I'm not the face of the company. I can make a business, and Hormozy says you only have a business if you can leave for a year and come back and it's growing, not
Yeah.
falling apart. And so it's as important as it is for me to have a good reputation and really truly know what I'm doing. It's equally important to me to have some type of system that anybody could follow, right?
Yeah.
So that's the direction that I started to move this week. As a part of my VIP package, I have a free coupon to get a lifetime subscription to my newsletter, which is basically a way for me to get someone's email that'll allow me to send them real estate market updates every week.
Mhm.
I want these emails to be real similar to the Mosey Minute, which is like a short 1 minute read that provides value. But instead of Mosey's value of life lessons or business lessons, mine is going to be an update on what's happening in the Brevard real estate market right now.
Right.
And so I had sent one out last week for feedback. It's like 20 people. I got like 3 people give me feedback, which is cool. Took that, wrote my next one. My dad actually had the best piece of advice. I forget what he said. It was something like, uh, oh, I had included a postscript at the bottom, a PS, and I had included the highest priced home that had sold that week. And he was like, "That's really interesting, but I'm not in the market for a huge house like that. It might be better if you could include a house that is like, hey, here's the median house. Like, here's what most people are owning.
Mhm.
Here's what is applicable to the most amount of people." And I was like, "That's an interesting thought." And so then I thought about it further and I was like, "Oh, I could change it up by week because I don't want every single week to be exactly the same, but it's also a lot of effort to try to think of something completely new every week all the time." And so I came up with a 4-week cycle that I can follow throughout the month, where the first week is a recap of the entire month previous. And then the second week is talking about like what are the days on market doing today compared to this time last year? So how has the market evolved over the course of the year? And then in the third week, I can start to look at, okay, well, how has the market been moving in this current month? Because now we have 3 weeks of data to look at rather than just one.
Right.
And then in the last week, it's something else. I can't remember. I've got it broken apart into
Nice.
like a strategy, right? And so this week's that I sent out on Wednesday morning, I write them Tuesday and then I schedule them to send Wednesday morning. Um, that was week 2, or no, week 1. Technically, that was the first one of October. So then this week will be week 2. And I wrote it and I was really happy with how it came out. And I haven't gotten much feedback from anybody, which I think means that it's probably in a better spot than last time because the feedback I got last time was like, hey, here's 10 different things you can fix. And I addressed all of those things this week. So if I'm not hearing anything back, I can only assume it's positive, right? Until people start asking me to take me off the list.
Right.
But then you gave me good feedback yesterday. So I'm going to incorporate that tomorrow and Tuesday. And then I'm going to get a whole uh, emailing list together. That emailing list is going to come from my people database, which is that Excel sheet with all the kids I went to high school with in there. I added all the contacts from my phone in there too. So that is like a list of like everybody that I could possibly contact. Not know, because there's some people I know that I don't have phone numbers or contact information for. So it's not a full data set. Like, I don't know, who's a mutual friend that we have? Uh, no, we don't
What?
have any friends.
Like, I mean, we both know your dad.
Yeah, but I have my dad's number.
Oh, you're asking for someone we don't have a number?
Yeah. Tommy from Audubon, right?
Oh, sure.
I don't have his number. I don't have his Facebook. I don't have his email. He's someone who I know. So he's someone who could be a potential client. So I would want
Sure.
him in my quote sphere
Yeah.
of influence of people that I know, right? But I don't have his contact information. So he's not in this sheet. So this sheet is like people who I can contact in 10 seconds or less, right? And that sheet is going to have everyone's emails in there. I haven't gone in and updated that list with all of the contacts from my phone yet because it's an arduous task. And I feel like as I do it, I'm not making any progress anywhere else. And what I've really been struggling in the past 2 weeks, especially doing this listing launch system, is that I feel like I'm in analysis paralysis, even though I know I'm not. And so I'm just continually reminding myself, no, you're building value to provide. You're not taking too long to do any of this stuff. You're
Mhm.
doing it right.
Mhm.
And it feels uncomfortable because most people would pressure you to sell something without truly understanding it. Right. So I'm doing the right thing. It just takes time. So
Yeah.
I have postponed doing that contact list upload thing, but I'm going to motivate myself to try to get it done today or tomorrow so that when I do send the first full newsletter out, it'll be to every email that I have. And then everybody who replies and asks me to take them off, I'm going to put them on a different list. And that list, I'm going to email them back in like 4 to 6 months and say, hey, like I'm putting you back on the newsletter. Let me know if you're not in the position to buy or sell a house anymore, or something like that. Right.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try and keep them short. And in any case, I'm really happy with how they're coming along. I'd like to reformat it to how Hormozy has it set, because I like his template style. And then I would also like to include a link to my website at the bottom, like Hormozy has, but I don't have a website yet. So that's something else that I want to work on in this upcoming week. Let me get a drink.
Got it.
Phew. All right. I had a great idea this week, which is I'm taking a long time to build out this value to give to sellers,
Mhm.
but I'm not recognizing that I already have the skills and abilities to help buyers. So there's a ton of people ready to buy a house that I am fully capable of helping and believe that they are better off working with me than other real estate agents. And I'm not reaching out to them because maybe they actually want to sell a house instead of buy a house. And I need to be ready to help them if that's the case. Right. And so I had a realization today, which is, the clients that we have been working with on and off for like 6 months and haven't bought anything yet, but are real people, are out of state referrals. So, like, a brokerage in West Virginia emailed me and was like, hey, do you want these clients? And I was like, absolutely. Right. Real people, not a scam. They wound up not buying a house. You never know if that's going to change, but they are real people, and real people
Yeah.
move to Florida all the time. And so I had this awesome idea of reaching out to agencies across the United States and emailing all of them and saying, hey, like, I'll give you a great referral split if you send me your clients. So I put Grace on this task like a month ago. And I was like, just start emailing people. I want to have a person in each state or each major
Mhm.
city that we can contact. She was like, okay. So she would pull up a city and then find a real estate brokerage in that city and then try to figure out who their top agent was from their website and then email that person and wasn't getting like any responses. So she did like 40 of them and then was like, I'm not getting anything back. I think my time is probably better spent somewhere else. And I was like, I agree with you, right? But there's a website that my brokers use to get market trend data to show us agents at our regular meetings, right? So, for example, the graph that I included in my email showed what was that graph? Mortgage rates.
Mhm.
And so I was able to show that mortgage rates are slowly coming down over the course of September because the Fed cut rates, right? Actually, they moved down over the whole third quarter. Um, but in any case, Housing Wire is the website that collects that data.
Got it.
They also collect a leaderboard of the top agents in every state.
Ah.
So they're compiling the best people to reach out to already for me. And they have their phone number there. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I'll just write up an offer text and then I'll send it to everybody in this
Yeah.
data package, right?
Yep.
And so my text was like, it started with like, I'm offering 35% referral bonuses for anyone you send me. And then I have a little write up that introduces myself. Hi, I'm Mason. Like, I'm looking to treat your clients as well as you treat them. If you'd like to get on a call to get to know me, that's cool. Otherwise, just send me your clients to my email and like we're good to go. And so then I started just cranking through and I was like, okay, I'm just going to like do all of these. There's like 2 or 3,000 names in there. They're like the top 200 agents in every state or something like that. So I'm just going to crank through them and like get it all done this weekend. and then I can go back to my stuff. And then these people will already have my number. So as people come in, maybe they'll start sending me someone. It's unrealistic that I text 2,000 people and don't get one reply with maybe someone who's looking to move to Florida, right? And that would be a buyer, not a seller. I can help them right now while I finish up my seller stuff and we're good to go. And so I got maybe like 250 messages in when Grace showed up and was like, "Oh, I'll help you do this." And so she started texting people, but I noticed she was scheduling her texts for the next day because she was texting people in Texas and I was texting people in Alaska. And so it was still like evening time in Alaska. It was like midnight here, but it's like 6 p.m. in Alaska. So I was going for it. And I was like, "Oh, I'm moving to Maine next," because I'm just going top left down. She was going bottom right up, excluding Florida. Um, and I was like, I'm doing Maine next, where it is like midnight. So I'm going to start scheduling these posts. And she's like, cool, you can only schedule it if you're texting someone with an Apple product. And I was like, got it. So I'm texting these people one by one, waiting for an Apple one to pop up. And I get through like 30 in a row, and they're all Samsung, all green numbers, not blue. And I'm like, what the fuck? What are the chances of this? And she was like, is something wrong with your phone? And I was like, no. And then I was like, oh, hang on a second. I wonder what the limitations are on texting new phone numbers from an Apple phone.
Yeah.
And so then I looked it up, and if Apple detects you sending the same message to new phone numbers over like 30 a day, I've done 250 in an hour and a half, then they'll flag your number and they'll stop sending it as an iMessage and they'll send it as an SMS text. And so now my texts are popping up as sent as a text message to people, which already looks kind of weird,
Yeah.
especially if they have Apple, right? And they're all green for me. And I'm like, oh shit, I should stop this because you can get shadow banned and Apple will just stop delivering your messages. And so I was like, I don't want to kill my SIM card and have to go get a
Yeah.
SIM card or phone. So I'm just going to stop now. And ChatGPT said like wait 24, 48 hours and like it should clear up and you should be fine. But I think I stepped firmly in dog shit with this because my texts are still sending green to people. My text to you send green, and we both have Apple and we've been texting for a long time. So like I don't know if this is recoverable or not. I don't know what the deal is, but I just put it on hold. The limit is like 25, 30 agents a day. And so Grace is going to continue to do like 25, 30 agents a day. We're going to message probably like the top 10 in each state, and then we'll go back through and do the middle 10 in each state, whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
But that's a strategy that I didn't do a ton of research into before executing. I kind of just started taking action and then kind of got my ass burned.
Yeah, I've done that with Facebook ads too.
Yeah.
With all my like the initial ad account logs, just trying to get stuff running too quickly.
Yeah.
It's funny once you start actually like pushing the systems and frameworks you have in place, you realize how limited they are.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's a direct reflection of these frameworks and systems are in place because no average person breaks them.
Yep.
Right. And so it's like it's an interesting affirmation of like, oh shit, like there's something about us that's just built a little bit different.
It's a gentle reminder that if you want to be exceptional, you have to be the exception, which
Right.
means being different, right?
Right.
For good or for bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of had to for a second I was like, "Oh man, am I being like really annoying or am I like moving too quickly?" And then I was like, "Oh fuck it, who cares?" Like the offer's legitimate. Um I'm very communicative with my out-of-state referrals. The people who sent us from West Virginia, I would send that agency weekly updates even though they're just waiting for a check to come in, right? Um I'm super communicative. I have a great satisfaction rate with the buyers that I work with. I've never had one go poorly or even give me negative feedback at all. Um, so I'm confident in my ability to help buyers, and I'm offering 35% for a referral, which standard is like 25 to 35. So I'm on the high end of standard. So I'm giving a genuine offer, and these people have their phone numbers out there, like they want to be contacted. I'm offering them free money, otherwise their client's going to go find their own agent in Florida anyways, right? So it's a genuine offer that I'm making, and there's no problem with messaging it to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. It's just that Apple doesn't support that.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, lesson learned. Hopefully my texts start going blue again. If they don't, I'm not sure what to do. But so far,
Go
everyone's
to
been,
Apple.
yeah, they've been getting my texts. So
That's good at
it
least.
could be worse. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could be completely shadow banned where no one's getting my texts.
That
So,
is-
anyways, that's the first half of my update. In March, the National Association of Realtors, or NAR, which is the governing body that handles realtors, which are the real estate agents that have undergone ethics training and have joined the National Association of Realtors. So you can be a real estate agent without being a realtor, but you can't be a realtor without being a real estate agent. NAR settled a lawsuit because real estate agents were broadcasting what their commission split was. So earlier I mentioned that it's standard for a seller to give their agent 6%. Usually that agent takes 3.5 and then offers 2.5 to any buyers that bring a buyer, or buyer agents that
Yeah.
bring a buyer, right? Real estate agents were advertising what commission splits they were offering on the MLS. And so then buyers agents would steer their clients toward homes with a higher split for them.
Mm.
So real estate agents were essentially using their commission as marketing to get people to come buy homes. And so then some seller clients were like, hey, my house isn't getting shown because my real estate agent is following the standard 3.5 and 2.5 split. And my house isn't getting shown.
Yeah.
So NAR settled the lawsuit, and they declared that they were going to enact a bunch of changes to fix that, right? So one of them is you can't broadcast your commission on the MLS anymore, right? The MLS is basically Zillow just for realtors, right? Um, Another one of the changes is you have to sign a buyer broker agreement form with your buyer before showing a home. So if you want to go see a home, you have to sign a form with me that says, I understand that if I buy this home, you have brought this opportunity to me and are showing it to me, and I'm going to buy it with you,
Yeah.
and I owe you commission. And here we agree on the commission rate already to begin with, right? And if I want to go with another realtor, then I have to tell you in writing that I don't want to use you anymore, and I have to break this agreement, right? That's one of the changes. One of the other changes they enacted, there's a bunch of them, there's a host, but one of them is a new type of category you can put your listing in when you list a property for sale on the MLS. And that is directly applicable to my listing launch system,
Mm.
because the way that my system works is I file the paperwork real fancy so that technically I can go under contract on a house the first day on market,
Yeah.
which is my vanity metric of choice, I guess, right? Is getting it sold first day on market. And I adjusted my system a little bit so that I actually can get it under contract first day on market, not day on 2 on market or anything like that. I adjusted it so it's 1 day on market. If a listing launch generates offers. So here's the change. The new NAR forms there's just one new form, but I'm going to explain the way that it is right now and then explain the new one, right? So when you get a listing, the rule is once you get a listing agreement, as a realtor, you need to give that listing agreement to your broker, and then you should go file it in the MLS right away.
Mm.
If you don't want to file it in the MLS right away, that's cool. We have a form for that. It's called the MLS exclusion form.
Yeah.
So you fill out an MLS exclusion form and you give it to them and you say, hey, I have this listing. I'm not going to put it on the MLS right now. I'll let you know when I'm ready. You give it to them. They keep it. You can do that for as long as you want, right?
Okay.
In that state, you are not active, meaning the days on market do not tick up. It is not shown on the MLS. It's not shown on Zillow. It's not shown on Realtor.com, anything else. Those are called IDX sites, or information data exchange, right? You can't do it forever. Why do I have this written here? It says temporary, permanent. Oh, you can do it 2 different ways. You can either file it so it's temporary, so like, hey, I only want to be in this state for like 10 days, or you can say permanent where it's as long as possible, right? So that's the MLS exclusion form.
Mm.
Another form is coming soon. And this is what I'm using to market my property, but not have the days on market tick up.
Yeah.
So you file the coming soon form. It's shown on the MLS, so just to the realtors, but it's not shown on the IDX platforms, information data exchange, like Realtor.com and Zillow. So normies can't see it. Agents can. No one can put down offers or go see the home yet because it's still coming soon, but I'm allowed to market it. You can only do that for 21 days, and that's my 21-day marketing window that I'm using in my listing launch system, right? The new form that they have included is called the delayed marketing form, which is where it's shown as active and it's shown on the MLS, but it's not shown on Realtor.com or Zillow.
Oh.
And that's a big deal because that's taking away a huge amount of power from Zillow and Realtor.com and giving it to real estate agents.
Yeah.
Because now regular people can't just go surf Zillow and find houses with this estimate that they like and then get a real estate agent and say, hey, I need you for the paperwork, but I'm only going to give you 1% or anything like that. Or even try to do it on their own without counsel from a real estate agent. Now they're giving you the option of fully marketing it without Zillow and anything like that. That's a big deal. Doesn't really help my case because from the listing agent side, I'm trying to get the house sold. So when I'm marketing it, I want it to be on every platform I can possibly be. But
Right.
it took me a while to understand what was going on here because it's all like in legally paperwork and no one explains it really clearly. So I did my due diligence to learn what the
Cool.
form actually looked like. And now I know how to use it. So took that into account, but I'm not going to use it in my system.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah. So that's it for the new forms. I also started to update the listing launch system, like I mentioned earlier, with actions for buyers and sellers and stuff like that. So my mission this week is to get the mega timeline finished and then book a conference room at FIT or a brokerage, one of Blue
Well,
Pollen offices or something with you and Grace if I can steal a few hours of your time. Put it on a projector and then walk through it step by step and have you guys put holes in it.
yeah.
I'm gonna have Grace do it once before because she has the real estate knowledge, but I want to see how it looks from a layman perspective on, hey, I don't know anything about buying a home apart from the shit that Mason has tweaked about near me before. Does this make sense and is it useful? Um, I also have an upcoming meeting with that lender that specializes in VA loans. We are getting lunch tomorrow or Tuesday, I can't remember. Um, and I'm super excited about that because I started to learn about the VA borrowing process a few weeks ago. And then I was put in touch with this lady because she's good at down payment assist programs. So um, we can get a house that, interestingly, I learned last weekend at the open house, new home construction builds, if you work with their preferred lender, they'll get you insurance rate or interest rates in like the 3.9, 3.8%
Oh,
range.
wow.
So the national average right now is like 6.5, 6.6. So they can cut your interest almost in half,
Dang.
which is crazy. And you can get a brand new build home, 3 bed, 2 bath for like 300,000. With a down payment assist program and 3.9% interest, you can get a crazy low monthly payment. You can get like $1,800 monthly payment, which is a 3 bed, like a 2 bed, 2 bath rent in apartment,
Wow.
which is nuts.
Yeah.
And it's a new build. So like usually with homes, you always have to give the perspective of like, hey, we can probably get your monthly down, but just remember you have to pay insurance. You've got to have some money in your pocket in case your AC breaks. That's 20
Right.
grand. You'll have to finance that, et cetera, right? But the risk is so much lower on a new home because everything's new. So you don't have to worry about stuff breaking for like 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Um, and the resale value is huge too, because if you buy a new home now and then you want to move in 5 years, everything else is like it's still new. So huge, huge value proposition. So all of my people who are interested in buying their first home, I'm encouraging. Let's go. Like if you want to fix her upper, that's cool. But remember, you're gonna have to put in work and money, right? But
Yeah.
you can get a way better deal on an older one. But this lender also does down payment assist programs on older homes too.
Very
Um,
cool.
yeah, so we have lunch coming up, so I've got a huge list of questions to talk to her about. Um, and then my last business update is that my open house streak continues. It was my birthday this weekend, and I was thinking about it because I was like, most people will take their birthday. I know people personally who will take their birthday as an excuse to take a week off of work and like go on a vacation and not not do anything but relax, which is completely fine. Um, and Grace this week was like, "Oh, like it's your birthday. Like, are you gonna want to do an open house on Saturday? Because like I kind of have some stuff planned all day, so like we're not gonna have time for an open house." And I was like, "Cool, we'll do it Friday night." She was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, like the one that we have been doing is right on the barge canal, so everyone coming home from NASA is gonna have to pass by our signs. Maybe they'll stop." And she was like, "Okay." But I refused even on my birthday week
Yeah.
to let this open house get in the way. And then Grace has a family member that's going to be visiting us this upcoming week, and they'll be staying with us for the whole week. And so yesterday, Saturday, on my birthday, I was like, "What are we going to do for an open house next week?" And Grace was like, "Well, we have that family member coming to town. I'd really like to spend time with them." And I was like, "That's totally cool. I'm going to have to do an open house on my own, so I'm going to need the car from you that day." And she was like, "Okay, like works for me."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the streak continues, and I'm gonna keep it continuing. We got like 3 groups to come through this past open house. It was from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on a Friday. So I was hoping to get everyone coming home from NASA down by the Barge Canal on North Courtney. We only had 3 groups stop in. None of them were like interested in talking at all. They were like super closed off. They were only in the house for like 5 minutes. So not a very engaged batch. I did try with several of them more than I have in the past. Um, in the past, if someone wanted to be left alone, like I'll just leave them alone. But this time I tried to open them up, not by asking about like real estate stuff, but kind of just like ask them how their day's going or like, if they're excited for what weekend plans or whatever, stuff like that.
Right.
And none of them were really open to talking, which is fine. So nothing notable from the open house this week, but that concludes my life update or my business update.
Very nice.
So what lessons have you learned this week?
I just want to mention very
Oh, yeah.
cool stuff about the new contracts and agreements. I look forward to seeing how you present the listing launch, how it develops into fully. I like the buyer and seller step by steps. I think those will be useful and tactical for people.
Yeah.
And definitely the referral discounts are really, really good. Like that's really cool.
Those are stacking up fast. And
Yeah.
like, I've got a window and door company that is giving people, I think, 10% off. And so 10% off
that's huge.
windows and door. I mean,
I
windows
mean,
can be like 20 grand.
yeah, I mean
The
that's
impact.
2 grand off right there.
Yeah.
Right there, 20 grand, right?
Yeah. And so then if you add that up with the other like 12 or the other 11 companies that I have, like I could advert, how Hormozy was advertising his boxes, like it's 6,000, but you get it for 2,000, but you
Yeah,
get it for free or whatever, right? I could effectively do the same thing of like, this is a $20,000 box that you're getting for free if you use everything in here, right?
yeah,
Um, I have to be careful with the timeline stuff though, because Grace started to get nervous as I was showing her this because I was like, "Can I show you what I have?" And she was like, "Sure." And then I like turned the laptop toward her and talked for 45 minutes. And she was like, "You cannot do this in a listing appointment." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "You cannot go into this level of detail and go step by step. Some people don't
yeah.
want to know how the sausage is made. They just want you to handle it." And I was like, "That's fine. Maybe I could just show them that it exists to see like, hey, look how much
So
stuff we have." And she was like, "That's a good idea, but don't go step by step if they don't want to see it." And I was like, "Yeah."
yeah. So kind of because I was thinking about that too. I anticipated that would be like part of the conversation we'd have after you pitched it.
Yep.
But I think that having like the first slide being like, this is the whole thing. And this is your big monster. And then it's like, but to simplify things for you, we break it down from here to here and then show each slide to here to here.
Hmm.
Here are the 3 or 5 biggest things for you that you need to worry about.
Yep.
That way, they already see that there's a bigger framework at play. They see that you're narrowing it down, and then if they have specific questions about here, you can move up a level or move
Yep.
up a level or move up a level, right? I think going it from that kind of angle um, shows that there's more information available to the people that want it, but doesn't pose it as a requirement for the people that don't.
It's tailorable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a really great perspective, and that's exactly the perspective that Grace had too.
yeah,
And it's something that I hadn't even thought about because I am deep in the weeds in this,
right.
right? I think
Yeah.
I showed you yesterday.
I was gonna kind of let you run with it a little bit because
Yeah.
I think that
You
it
know how I work.
yeah, I was gonna let you run with it. And I also think that having this massive sheet will make the breakdown much more valuable
Yeah.
because you'll be able to look at the massive sheet and go, what are the heavy hitters? And your heavy hitters will actually be the heavy hitters because there's a
Yeah.
risk if you start from the highlight overview, there's a risk that you miss important
that's
points on the in-depth.
That's exactly what I did. This is my first draft, and you can see I have stuff for day 1, then
Yeah.
day 5, then day 7 because I was just trying to do the
Right.
highlights. And then I was like, "No, no, no. I've talked about it on the podcast before. I'm a bottom up motherfucker, so I need
Yeah.
to go day by day, and then I can whittle it down to the important shit."
Right.
So exactly what you said is
Yeah.
exactly what I'm doing. And then I can distill this into
Yes. Yeah.
something
And I
like
think
that,
that'll
but for
be
buyers, right?
exactly, yeah, and I think it could even probably be distilled down more than
I
that.
agree. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But that distilling style, I think when coming from that large framework that you're building will be much more valuable.
I agree.
And to have the funnel, to have a visual funnel that people can see and understand that there is thought behind this stuff,
Yep.
I think is important. Like if you can broad stroke that as in like, I have thought about this and analyzed it, I'm breaking it down for you.
Mhm.
That gives them the opportunity to ask questions. They also can see that you know what you're doing, and then it makes it easier to
Yeah.
work from that angle, right?
Yeah. I can also convert these into like very nice presentable graphics and include that in my VIP package, my
Yeah.
box, my gift box. I can do the distilled down version of like, hey, if you're my buyer, these are the high level steps. I have 4 more higher fidelity models that I can give to you if you're my client. And then
Yeah.
same with seller, right? I don't want to give too much of my secret away to my sellers for free because everybody gets a free box, including other agents if they come through. So
Right.
I can't discriminate.
Yeah, I would say like even on that like very high level overview one, I would um put that high level overview in there, and then it's like kind of I wouldn't be able to frame this on the spot,
Mhm.
but kind of iterating in a way that isn't directly like I have a more in-depth over you want to be able to say I have a more in-depth overview and more informational breakdown of each one of these steps without actually saying that. And I think a couple ways that you could say that would be like 180 or whatever, right? 180 hours in the back end in order to develop this framework out to a step-by-step process. This is
Right.
just a high level overview. Or like, um a linked process within here goes on the back end that I coordinate through for you. This is just the high level breakdown, right? Or like, obviously, you would need to phrase it different than that. By no means is that like
Well, so
a perfect example, but having that essentially saying there's more information in the background that you can't see without saying that and saying it in ways and terms that to the average listener would be like, oh shit, that's a lot. Like,
yeah,
for example, hours spent
right,
or line items broken down
right.
that you use or
5 times this level of detail.
exactly. Like these
Yeah.
big, like 5x,
Yeah.
10x style things that
Yep.
people just latch onto and love. I think that would be valuable there to
Yeah.
show that, right? Does that make
And
sense?
then I can put that behind the paywall of like, I'm giving you the fundamentals, but then if you're my client, then you get the whole shebang. You get everything,
Yeah.
right? You get all the
You get an
players.
agent that spent 5 or 10x more than any other agent in order to make your launch more successful
Right.
than any of
Right.
your competing offers or
Right.
whatever, right?
Right.
Like you can frame stuff like that and like just heavy hitter, just to nail them down the list.
Yeah. So for example, I mean, one of the higher level things, um, on day 46 here of my listing contract, or my listing timeline, a buyer action is review preliminary CD once available, right? What the fuck does that mean? A CD is a closing disclosure, right?
Mm.
And so then even the buyer is going to go like, what the fuck is a closing disclosure, right? Because that's essentially your breakdown of the balance that is owed at closing. That tells you exactly what you need to be paid at closing. There's a lot of variables in there you might not understand. I have an Excel sheet that breaks down all the variables for you. And so if you're my client, oh, this isn't the one I showed you last week. I
Yeah.
remember all the it's a calculator, right? If you're my client, then not only do I explain to you what the CD is and give you reference on like, well, I can take you line by line, but I also have this sheet that will calculate everything so we can double check the math, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're completely right, and that's exactly what I'm looking to do. I just need to keep stacking on higher fidelity, and like my big monster model that I know my way around and no one else can follow, and then I'll distill it down into like more sensible shit.
Also, something I just thought of too is that ChatGPT lets you create custom GPTs, which is cool.
Mhm.
But the really cool part is that you can actually create shareable links for those GPTs
Mm,
that only work through that link. And the
mm.
way you create the shared GPTs is you essentially give it a bunch of documents, data, descriptions, whatever you want, and it creates a GPT that feeds off of the data that you input.
Oh,
It would be really cool um, it would be really easy to set up, especially with everything that you have that's digital. Literally inputting that stuff into a custom GPT
yeah.
and then giving that through like a Yaskovic AI
Right.
code,
Right.
right? Just a QR code, which you can generate in Canva for free, and it will
Wow.
link to that. You can generate the QR code in Canva to any link that you want.
Yeah.
Or it can be done through Adobe, I know for sure, also for free. And I have Adobe Premium. I could literally just generate it for you, and it's a lifetime code. It's easy.
Right. Right.
But that custom GPT could be like, when you open up the box, if you have any questions about the listing launch system, you can literally ask ChatGPT. But it's
Right.
your GPT, and you can ask it a question, and it will just pull from all the data that
Right.
you have,
All the
right? And you could
questions
even
already
you
answered.
could create one that's like basic overall framework,
Mhm.
and then another one that's like super in depth.
Yeah.
And then it's like if they're just generally getting the box, they get the basic overall framework AI.
Mhm.
And then if they actually become your client, they get a different link, and
Yeah.
it's all of your breakdown stuff. And that can, like that would be almost like a way for a client to Google search or ChatGPT search all of the stuff specific to you,
Mhm.
alleviate stress for you having to answer questions all the time,
Right.
right? But also provide them the value at the level that they want because their questions are being answered at their level by AI.
Right.
So that could be a cool
That's
idea
a cool
too.
idea. I
I
like
don't know, you can run with it how you want, but I just thought of that sitting here. I was like, oh, that would be kind of
Well,
fun.
that saves a lot of time.
And it's so easy. I made custom GPTs for my branding stuff. It was very easy.
Yeah.
It was very easy.
That saves a ton of time for like intro level stuff. Um, it would have to be a trade-off because on the one hand, you want to build rapport with your client because you want them to like working with you.
Mm,
But on the other hand, if they have a ton of really fundamental questions that they, you know, are gonna waste our time with. Like, at a certain point, it becomes more valuable to offload that to AI than to sit down with the client for 3 hours and explain the process, right?
Yeah.
So there's a function for that somewhere where that's super useful. I actually know a software guy, and we've been working recently on getting some data sets together for calling leads.
Mhm.
But he is a programmer, so he knows code. This is going to sound super rudimentary because I'm an idiot when it comes to code. Um, think of it this way: you and I are in a texting conversation in ChatGPT.
Mhm.
So you and I can talk to each other, and you and I can ask ChatGPT. It's like ChatGPT is in the group chat with us,
Yeah.
which is fucking cool. And you can do it with ChatGPT, with Claude AI, with like 5 or 6 different
Interesting.
types of AIs. And I was like, dude, if we worked in like a collaborative space with like a bunch of other people, like a team or something like that, that would be so useful. And I told him, I was like, you got to show as many people as you can this thing because this is super cool. I don't have use for it right now. But if you could
I
have
mean,
chat,
you could have that incorporate into what we just talked about with the AI, where your custom GPT is incorporated into the AI with the group chat with your client.
yeah,
And then if they ask a question that the AI isn't can't answer, or maybe you have a system in place with the AI of like, hey, don't answer questions for above this certain
right, just do it for
level,
me.
or like financial specific questions,
Right,
right? Like the AI can defer you, and then you can pick up in the conversation with already having the history in the conversation. The customer doesn't have to fill you in.
yeah,
You essentially just jump in the group chat and are like, "Oh, see that you're here, blah, blah, blah,
right,
blah,"
right.
whatever.
Yeah, that's a
You
good
do it
thought.
that way too.
That's a good thought too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's stuff to think about, I guess.
yeah,
But yeah, no, very cool, very cool.
yeah.
Uh,
It feels longer than when I was writing my sheet. When I was writing my sheet, I was like, I don't have much for this week because I just kind of
yeah.
tweaked on this timeline thing. But I still managed to get the past few weeks. I felt that way. It feels like I'm not getting a ton done because I'm not like progressing in any deals right now. But I am doing a lot,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
good.
Working.
Yeah, it's a different kind of value, I guess.
Yeah, it'll I think it'll provide value long term,
Yeah,
for sure,
yeah,
for sure. And at the minimum, at least how I look at these things, because I build a lot of shit that fails. Not to say that your shit will fail, but I've gone built a lot of stuff that has lost me many monies. Um, and kind of like the only thing that's gotten me through that is looking at it from the framework of like, even if this sucks, at least I learned something.
yeah,
Which is why I have like such a shtick for like when I run ad tests and I can't pull any learnings out of them.
yeah.
It's like not only did they fail, but I didn't learn anything. And so I'm the same idiot that I was when I started this process.
But with less
Like that
time.
I really despise.
Well, and so a great example of that is this new form that NAR introduced this week because I have read those forms before and they've never really meant anything to me because I never really had like a listing system.
Yeah.
And if I'm not using it, I really struggle to grasp conceptual things if I don't practice them regularly.
Yeah.
Um, so like fucking like dynamics, the math course that we took in college, I don't calculate dynamics every day.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to go run through all of that shit, all of that coursework again to remember how to do those math equations because
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it every day. And it's the same type of thing for these forms. It's like I can read it and understand it, but for me to actually use it and retain it, um, I have to be implementing it in something or have it closely related to something I'm doing every day. So if I hadn't been building this listing system, then when I got these NAR form updates, then I probably wouldn't have read it 3 months ago. You
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
it's helpful. It's helpful.
Very cool.
What are your life lessons learned? Or what are your
Oh,
lessons? I
lessons
keep
learned.
saying life because it
Uh,
starts with an L. What are your lessons learned this week?
uh what's that, the one I wrote down here, um you really got to be able to frame things from your own perspective. I think something that I learned this week is um part of this week was a reminder of you can't change everyone's mind, and sometimes it's just not worth um, going down that venture. And to really
Is
assess
this
what is the opportunity. This was like part of the struggles I've had getting good photos with a branding person.
got
And it's not even, I guess, changing their mind, because my goal is to not change their mind, but kind of looking at it from the point of like, what is my leverage here and what am I trying to accomplish,
mhm,
right? And looking at it from the perspective of, if my stuff sucks, then A, it is what it is. But B, I always have the opportunity to do more of my stuff.
mhm,
I don't always have the opportunity to get them to do more of their stuff.
mhm,
And so how can I best assist them so that they have the easiest possible time producing their stuff at volume in order to generate the highest quality product in the end?
right.
And so kind of reframe from that perspective. Um, it's a little bit, it honestly can be quite demoralizing at times. Just to, like, but it's nothing new. Like, honestly, part of what I thought about this week was like this. I listened to I'll start from this. I know I'm all over the place, but Hormozy talk. I re-listened to a Hormozy podcast, and he talks about how, like, growth is pain, stagnation is pain, loss is pain, and life is pain. And I was really looking at, like, the framework of business, and I'm like, this is by and large been incredibly painful for, like, a majority of the shit I have to touch. Like, the ads have been painful, the issues have been painful, the website test was painful. Trying to work through these problems and understand how to learn from them was painful. Like, this shit is all just painful.
Hmm.
Um, and like I just got like a different flavor of the pain this week in terms of, like, I guess that, like, my shit sucks, at least from, her perspective. And, just kind of like, at the minimum, accepting that for the time being and being like, how can I just leverage what I'm perceived to be good at?
Right.
And it's really hard because um I've I've gone through several parts of my life where people have told me that I can't do this or I can't do that or I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. I had, like, when I was racing, people were like, some people said, like, you should go outdoors. And then I went outdoor two-stroke single speed and I was doing okay, but I was on a used cart and, I didn't get any podiums that year. My highest finish was fourth
Hmm.
out of a group of a dozen. And so I was doing okay, but not that great. And at the end of that year, I was like, I'm going to move to a shifter cart. And not a single person told me that that was not even a good idea, but even something that, like, I should do for my own safety,
Hmm.
right? Every single person was like, "That's a bad idea. You're not gonna do well. You're gonna get your ass handed to you. It's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be like, you're not gonna, like, you are not ready."
Hmm.
And I looked at that framework and I looked at, the indoor karting experience I had at that time. I only had like one or two track records at that point. And I looked at the indoor experience that I
More than
had.
most people can say, though.
True, true, but still, it was like small potatoes in comparison to a shifter car outdoors,
Hmm.
right? Like, it's a very different animal. But I looked at myself and I looked at the work ethic I put in, I looked at how I operate, and I looked at those things, and honestly, I assessed it at that point more from an emotional angle of just, like, pure love for the sport than I did, like, an analysis, because I was, 18. Like, the mental analysis of yourself and your abilities when you're 18 is far removed. Like, your mental analysis and what you believe is far removed from, like, sometimes what the realities can be,
Yeah.
right? But I looked at myself and I said, you know what? Like, this is this is the dream. I, like, my mom and the finances have the options of staying in single speed outdoor or going for shifter, and can't do both, pick and choose for more than a year. Like, it's kind of just all in or all out. And it was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna go for a shifter. And 4 races into a 12 race season, ended up winning against my mentor and coach at that time. Ended up acquiring the track record. Raced against national number one in Dallas, Texas. Raced against national number two in LA. Raced with people who were in F3
Hmm.
in um, all over Florida. Raced against Rubens Barrichello, which is a familiar name to many. Um, and
Ferrari Formula One driver, for those who don't know.
yeah, and ended up proving those people wrong. And at the end of that season, they came to me, even halfway through that season, they were coming to me and saying, "I don't know how you do it." And so it's very challenging for me sometimes when the approach is like, when someone approaches me and is like, "You are just incapable of doing better." I am like, "You have no fucking clue who I am. Like, you have no fucking clue." It's like, and like, I mean that in the nicest way I possibly can, because it's like, and that's not how I approach it with other people, right? But, like, internally, I'm like, this isn't the first time someone's told me that.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, but being able to restrain that and utilize it for moving forward is something that's been very challenging for me this week. Um, and it's something that I think I'm actually very pleased with how effectively I've been able to do.
Yeah.
Because it would have been very easy for me to just argue.
Hmm.
And I'm pleased with the fact that I was able to reframe it and be like, how can I just be a tool to make the process easier?
Right.
And that's something that's hard for me. And, it's especially hard for me when like I know that these things I can be capable of.
Hmm.
And it's just a matter of like, is it worth it for me to be capable to do them at this time or capable to the perspective that they have? No.
Hmm.
Right. And so just reframing that and kind of like just taking it as it will, right? Has been something that I had to work on this week, and it's been challenging. It's challenging, but at the same time, like, it's by far not the hardest thing that I've gone through. It's just like, time and time again, like business will beat you up, or at least like this e-commerce business has beat me up in a lot of different ways. And so this was just a kind of like a different angled punch that I wasn't used to.
Right.
Um, and so kind of looking at it from the perspective of what is my goal? Is what I'm trying to accomplish worth my time right now? Is trying to debate this aspect worth my time right now? How can I best leverage this? How can I move forward as quickly as possible? And how can I alleviate their stress? And essentially, that has come down to me being like, sure, I am incapable of doing this. How can I make your life as easy as possible so that there is some product that checks the box at the end of the day? And going through that is challenging because I feel as though, like, in that process, I lie to myself
Hmm.
because it's like, I know that, like, there is nothing impossible about taking a photo that is different from the photos I took. There's nothing inherently impossible about that. And I don't think that I'm so far removed from like a creative mindset that I am incapable of understanding it. Right. Like, I don't think those things are true. It's just a matter of like, is it worth my time? Or like, did we even effectively communicate about this the first time? Right. Like,
Right.
maybe there's just some misunderstanding that's going to be quickly resolved.
Right.
Right. But in any case, there is a wall there that I am not willing to try and break down because the risk associated with trying to break down that wall is too great in comparison to the potential reward if I can just shift paths and be a tool for the process rather than be a creator for the process.
Right.
And so that's kind of something that's been challenging for me this week. And just continue to push through that process, like really coming at it from the frame of like I I just need to continue pushing through this, and continue working hard. And I've kind of taken it as a like this is just a test of a test. I've looked at it as a test of my mental perseverance and my ability to adapt and overcome and push forward in business for the highest quality product in the end with the least friction along the way.
Right.
That's kind of how I've looked at it, and it's challenging for me because I have to do like a in that process. It's a constant mental reframe.
Yeah.
But that's been my biggest lesson learned is like really what are your cards at this moment and how can you play them most effectively, even if the cards that you're playing are based on premises that could be resolved or fixed, but are not worth resolving or fixing. Like some shit just stays broke.
There's a Hormozy quote, which it goes something like, "Don't don't believe or don't take to heart the opinions of those who aren't in a position where you want to be." Right.
Right. Yeah.
So don't take cooking advice from a pilot because they're not a chef. Right. Or
Right.
don't take pilot advice from a chef because
Yeah.
they don't fly planes. Right.
Yeah.
And so when you get inputs from people who are racing two-stroke carts with you about going to a shifter cart, if they've never raced shifter carts, they're not really in a place to tell you what you can or can't do because they don't know, they haven't done it.
Yeah.
Equally, it stings more when you hear people who are in shifter carts telling you not to do it because you're not ready, right?
Yeah.
And if they're able to elaborate why, that's one thing. If they can't, that's another. So in rowing, I can really easily attribute this to like, if I tell you that you're not ready to learn some more advanced shit, I can really accurately explain why that is because you have to nail the fundamentals before we go on to the advanced stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there is, but then again, I'm giving you an opinion from the place that you want to be. And so therefore I can explain why you need to take your time nailing what you're nailing right now,
Yeah.
right? But additionally, generally speaking, have you ever heard the joke that girls make? It's the difference between when a guy asks a girl if he thinks she can land a plane, and when a girl asks a guy if she thinks he can land a plane, right? So
Mhm.
it's like all guys think that they can land a plane with no training if they are on the intercom with air traffic control, right? No girls think they can do it. That's like the trend that people have seen,
Yeah.
right? And so like guys have this just like inherent like ego to think that they're capable of doing whatever, right? And I think that it's really easy for people to think that they can do anything, but it's incredibly difficult to overcome thinking that other people can do anything too, because then you automatically compare yourself to them. So if I am in a place where you want to be, say I'm an expert rower and you're not, and you're looking for advice from me, and I tell you that you're not ready to do something, right? But I don't give you advice on how to fix it, that might be my own um, insecurities showing because I don't want you to get as good as me. And if you're
Yeah.
paying me or if there's money on the line, it costs me money for you to get as good as me. And so when people are in a position that you want to be in and they're telling you that you're not capable of doing it, I would be cognizant of their position and the reason that they're saying that, not as a personal slight, but as an emotionally stunted perspective from their end. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, I hear that. And I don't know exactly what like the underlying ins and outs are
Yeah.
of the given situation, right? I hear your perspective on it too.
That's my
Um,
choose the reality that serves you, which
yeah.
is if you tell me that I can't do something, it's because you're afraid that I'm gonna get as good as you at it, and I'm not gonna need you anymore, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
you're the best people in your life and the best friends are the people that want you to get better at it because they know that a rising tide raises all boats. And so, like, for job shipping, right? I am not at the point where I'm ready to quit my job. I'm not gonna tell you that you're not ready to quit your job because I'm not ready. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know anything about your financial position or business or anything like that. And so if you're ready to quit or feel like it's time to quit, then I'm gonna support you because if you fail, I know you're gonna be fine and pick yourself back up. And if you
Yeah.
succeed, I know that that's good for everybody in your life.
Yeah.
And if it's not, if you succeed and then you cut everybody out and you like, I don't know, Taylor Swift it up the chain and forget all the little people, right? Dude, great for you. Live your life, expect nothing and be like grateful for everything, right?
Yeah.
And so I struggle to see any negatives of wishing people the best and encouraging them to go try, but I can really easily understand why people would have a different perspective and why your gut reaction might be to tell someone no, either out of self-preservation or fear that they're going to hurt themselves by trying, right? And I like the motherly aspect of like, oh, don't learn to race because you could get hurt, and I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want the
Yeah.
best for you, right? So I can understand both perspectives, and I
Yeah.
think that you can only get to a point of truly wanting the best for someone else by undergoing a lot of that emotional personal growth, which is one of the reasons that I love Grace so much, is because before I had learned that lesson myself, she had come into my life and was like, dude, you've got this. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't know other people wanted me to win too. Right.
Right.
Um, because at the time I had the perspective of like uber competitive, like I need to do what I can to be the best. And that means being better than other people, which means other people not surpassing me. Right.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest lessons that I've learned from Hormozy, like Hormozy loves entrepreneurs. Like he loves his competitors because he wants his competitors to get good, because that's gonna make him better.
Mm.
Rising tide raises all boats, right?
Yeah.
So that's my spiel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just been I think the framework that it's been looked at thus far has been challenging for me because I know that I can be capable of these things, but what's my leverage point at this time?
Yeah.
And that's just it's a hard pill for me to swallow. Um because it just makes me feel shitty.
You could
Uh
also look at it this way, right? Like the best leaders have teams of people that are better at them than what they can do, right?
yeah.
Like, do you know the Henry Ford story?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The interviewer,
Yeah.
and he calls this technical specialist to answer every question.
Yes.
It's just like that. And so photos is really challenging, especially because you have a background in photography. So you already have a baseline understanding of photography.
Yeah.
That whole bit earlier about the rainbow reflective sheen and the 2-hour exposure with delayed flash, I don't know what that shit means. I don't know what's happening with the camera that's recording right now, right? So to set a baseline, I know less than jack shit about cameras. You have an understanding about cameras, but it's the subjective aspect of what someone is telling you that
Yeah.
is irking you. And I think the challenging part about being told that is that someone else is saying you are not living your life in the way that I would prefer, and you are not taking these photos in the way that I would prefer. And it's not a like discernible, like, oh man, this was perfect. When we were building the
Yeah.
kahuna stands, do you remember when we were building the baked goods
Yeah,
stands?
yeah, yeah.
Do you remember how fucking insufferable I was? Because I had a fucking perfect vision for what these stands should
Yeah,
look
yeah.
like. And I just needed other people to get out of my way so that I could get
Yeah,
it done.
which I was cool with.
And they looked great, right?
Yeah, they looked awesome.
But the difference is that wasn't you having a business and then me telling you how to go build the stand to my vision, right?
Right. Yeah.
But if I like, and I, in that time and in that perspective, I would have lost my fucking shit if I lived in another state and I was trying to walk you through building that stand from my perspective, because I have a really clear vision of what it should look
Yeah,
like.
right.
So it's difficult from both angles. I think I would be way better at it today with the emotional and personal
Yeah.
development that I've been through. And it's equally challenging if I haven't gone through that development. I don't know how to like maturely express those emotions to you, because
Yeah.
then it'll come out as me just being like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, just send it to me and I'll do it. Right?
Yeah.
That's not helpful.
Yeah. What was hard for me is like I have a creative approach to how I approach things. And my creative approach differs from other people's, just like everyone's creative approach differs from everyone else's.
Right.
And I was a mixture of trying to, follow direction as well as incorporate my own side of things, just get feedback on it. And I think it comes down to a miscommunication. But at the end of the day, the frame that I've gotten to is like, it doesn't really matter whether it's a miscommunication or a misunderstanding. Fundamentally, the product will be easier to create and it will be easier in the long run if I just send it.
Yep.
And so, like, just making that realization of like very concretely, like, I just like not every battle is worth fighting for, and like I've had those realizations in many aspects of my life, but not really in like a business setting like this.
Right.
And so it's just kind of a reframe of that in a new light that just I've had to work through this week, and so I think that was my biggest lesson learned this week is just learning how to work around that,
It also
learning
might
how
not
to do
work.
that. What?
Like, it also might not work. Like, the
Right.
the product that you receive back might not convert as well as your
That is
really
correct.
difficult to make AI graphic shit, right?
That's
So
correct.
it might shake out that they're completely wrong and their opinion is invalid and
And
doesn't
I
apply to
hope
you.
that's not the case because I would much rather, all the time that they're spending and all the time that I'm spending in order to prep this stuff work. So then I would love that,
Right.
right? But the thing is because I did think about that, and like at the end of the day, if it doesn't work,
Yeah.
I would rather it be completely in their hands and me be a tool for their creativity so that they can work as they please. But then B, I always have the opportunity to do it my way at any time.
Right.
Right. And so, like, just like kind of being in that scene, like I've been in a place where I've just like kind of worked in my bubble and like accumulate and absorb things through my bubble for a while. As like, but to have someone else's bubble working inside of my bubble, not just like feedback coming into my bubble, but like
Right.
someone else's bubble actually there has been like a very different experience.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's either they're right and you're profitable, or they're wrong and you're right and more capable than you were given credit for. So like
yeah.
it's kind of like the like, listen to everybody but only take that which makes you more valuable.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Carus's bit.
And so it's like like, I really hope the branding works super well. I
Yeah.
hope I'm wrong. I hope I have to go through a complete learning process. And that's that, right? And if that's like and I am, also there's like the underlying aspect of like I know I'm capable of doing these photos in this specific aesthetic. I was trying to do something a little bit different. And that was my own like creativity, whatever you want to call it.
Well,
Getting into me because I have a photo insta, and you look at that photo insta, and like my photos don't look like other people's photos because I do weird shit with my fucking photos, right? But like that's just like who I am. And so I can always play those cards as I will later, but essentially the facilitation process has been a little bit of a growth process for me this week.
Yeah. Art in itself is subjective, right? Taylor
Yeah,
Swift's new album is getting wild
facts.
opinions from
Cover
both
your phone
sides,
mics.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, right. I mean, it's getting wild opinions from both sides. Some people love it, some people hate it, right? And it's art. It's meant to be subjective, right?
yeah,
The problem is if you objectify art by assigning a monetary value to it, like sales for an advertisement, right? That's when art gets really tricky. And um, I would be probably more concerned if you weren't passionate about how it's executed than giving it the thought that you have given it, right?
yeah. I mean, I'm passionate about it being executed for sure. I've done
Right.
everything I possibly can.
Yeah.
Um, which is part of the reason why it, like, hurts a little bit to, just to be like, I guess I just suck at all of this, at least from that angle of
Right.
things, right?
Right.
And so, but I'm gonna ride that out to get the end product the way that they like it in their form, because I can always do it in my form later at any time.
Right.
And in my own bubble, I am my own bubble, and I can fuck it up as much as I want to,
Yep.
right? And so that's just kind of, but hopefully it works perfect
Yeah.
and all is good. I would be more than happy with that.
Mm.
So that's been my lesson learned this week, working through that. But what about you? What has been your lessons learned this week?
Oh man, I thought about this last night and then I was like, maybe I didn't learn anything. And then as I sat down at the table today and started getting my stuff set up and I was like, maybe I've got something. I can find something in this week, right? And I think that what I kind of identified this week is that my customer pain points are different than I really thought that they were.
Mm,
Um, so like for example, um, it is a pain point that you have to pay for inspections. It is a pain point that you have to pay for new windows. I can alleviate that pain by giving you discount codes to make that cost less, right? Awesome. I think that my higher leverage pain point is in alleviating the uncertainty involving the transaction of a home, right? And so I've kind of restructured how I think about customer pain points because like all business is built on value and value is just like increasing the dream outcome and decreasing the pain it takes to get there, right? That's the value equation.
yep.
And so now I've decided instead of just identifying the pain point and then decreasing the friction, I'm 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 kind of restructuring that to think of it as risk as inversely proportional to knowledge.
Mm,
So the less knowledge you have, the higher amount of risk there is.
yeah.
And I can control the amount of knowledge a person has by how much I teach them or give them as a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And the more knowledge I give them, the less risk that they have. And that's really my job as a real estate agent
Yeah.
is to either give them the knowledge or be the knowledge that decreases that risk. So just by hiring a real estate agent without even like talking to them, you should have less perceived risk because you have an agent. But I would like to go a step further by not just doing the job for you, but showing you how the job is done to your desired level. And that's the value in the timelines that I'm putting together is that if you don't want to know anything and you want me to just take care of it for you, cool. Here's my system. Good? All right, I'm gonna go do it. And if you wanna go, like, beat by beat or, like, have a sheet of paper that you can follow along, I can provide that for you too. And no other real estate agent that you sit down with is gonna have this level of, like, engineering autism, like, in their presentation or deliverables, right? Um, so I've kind of restructured my pain points to not be physical pain, but risk-related pain, because that's really what people are worried about, is that I don't have a lot of knowledge in this area that I have to follow to buy a house or have to follow to sell my house. So how do I present that knowledge in a digestible way that helps alleviate that pain, helps alleviate that risk?
Yeah.
Um, and so the first step in that is me actually acquiring that knowledge. And then the second step of that is me delivering that knowledge. And teaching is a skill in itself. I think I have a lot of really awesome teaching abilities from my time coaching rowing. And I think that comes from teaching rowing is similar to teaching driving, where it's very much a feel based thing, right? Where it's, I know what it looks like, but the way it feels does not look the way that it looks, right? Um, so for racing, like your braking profile, like your braking shape feels way different than it looks on a graph, right?
Yeah.
And then in relation to where you're at on the track, it looks different if you're on the racing line or if you're on the inside line, right? Um, so the like relaying what it looks like to relaying to what it feels like in rowing has given me a really awesome ability to teach, I feel. And I think that that's going to translate to real estate really well. I just have to build that knowledge base first. And I think the issue that most real estate agents fall into is that they try to teach before really knowing.
Mhm.
And that's what leads to sloppy work. And that's what leads to lying to clients or lying by omission to clients without really realizing it, right?
Yeah.
And so similarly to your struggles of people telling you that you can't do something in real estate, I have found the opposite where it's people are amping me up too much. And they're saying, you already have all the skills you need, go and deliver it. And it's like, yeah, but like, I don't really know about this particular area. And they're like, bro, that's fine. Like, just defer that out to someone else or just like tell them that you know about it and they don't need to worry about it. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. If they have a question, I want to answer it and I want to know the answer. I mean, A,
Yeah.
for me, and then B, for them. And I've had the opposite of impact where everybody who I have spoken to has been like, bro, what are you talking about? And it almost feels like snake oil salesman type shit
Yeah.
where they're like, just sell yourself, don't sell the house. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting how we have the inverse problems, but foundationally, it's the same. Like, it's the same solution where it's like, okay, well, I just have to learn how to do it or I have to outsource it, right? So, like, in real estate, I'm not gonna pretend to know all of the different forms that someone has to fill out with their lender to secure a mortgage because it's a lot of paperwork. But I'm gonna sit down with a lender tomorrow and I'm gonna get the highlights from them so that I can
Mm.
put it in a timeline to give to my client, right? And if they have super intricate, detailed questions about that stuff, I will defer it to the lender, but I need to know enough to have a conversation about it. Um, similar to your
Yeah.
section where it's like, I can take these photos, whether or not they're good is up to someone else. I'm going to defer out to that person. But yeah, I think the lessons that I learned this week are around alleviating customer pain points, and that's how I'm going to deliver my value as an agent.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool. I dig it. You got a dial in for us?
I do. I have dude, I've realized today that I quote Alex Hormozy like scripture, like like religious
There are a
people
lot of
quote the Bible.
Swarzy quotes on this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in all of my life, I probably say his name more than I say my girlfriend's name. That's how often I think I quote him and his shit. And that's how often I think about the stuff that he teaches. And it really is similar to the Bible and how people will take the lessons in the Bible and they'll apply it to whatever's happening in your life.
Yeah. You
That's
got Alex Ramosi the
Alex.
podcasts.
Yeah, Alex Hormozy is my fucking Jesus. He's my religious figure. I'm in the Mosey cult. But I mean, again, it applies in all facets of life. So my quote today is from Alex Ramosi, and it says, "Education can't go down, it can't be taxed, and it can't be taken away from you. It only gets better over time, and it compounds onto itself."
Yeah.
And that's reflective of me taking the time to learn and educate
Yeah.
myself.
That knowledge base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Well, very cool. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. And we will see you next time.